All right, everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report, and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. All right, we're going to go back down to the border. We're going to do another story on Mexico because it's important that we understand what's happening in Mexico. If we don't understand what's happening in Mexico, we'll never understand what's happening in the United States. Mexico is under the control of vast criminal organizations, and we should know that. This is a story from Borderland Beat. Okay, this was just printed 2 days ago. I'm going to show you this article, and I'm going to go through another short article, and then I'm going to show you a clip of these people. It's in Spanish, so it's, you guys are going to have to just, pay attention to what's been shown instead of said. Okay, the war on drugs. Organized crime groups now control 80% of Mexico. Okay? 80% of Mexico. Our border country, our next door neighbor, is under the control of organized crime. CJNG and 9 drug trafficking cartels, along with 74 armed groups, dominate 80% of Mexico, almost the entire Mexican territory. 80% has the presence of organized crime. In Guerrero alone, there are 350 criminal organizations. 80% of the municipalities in Mexico are governed by authorities that have direct or indirect links to organized crime in any of its forms. 80% of the municipalities in Mexico are governed by authorities that have direct or indirect links to organized crime in any of its forms. That means the governors, the mayors, the police chiefs, the people who run the cities, the states, and the towns are under the control of all these vast criminal cartels. For the organized crime specialists, this means that criminals have 80% of the state municipal police corporations under their control, and that's why there's no security in the country. Today there are 9 major cartels, organized crime groups in the nation. Ariana Felix, or Tijuana, Beltran Leyva, Carrilla Fuentes, or Juarez, Gulf, Knights Templar, Sinaloa Pacific, Jalisco New Generation, La Familia, Las Zetas, in addition to 5 Los Viagras of the Northwest, the West, the Southeast, Nueva Gente, which have been gaining strength in the last 5 years. This amount of large criminal activity is twice that of the Attorney General's office recognized in 2005, when the main cartels were those of Tijuana, Sinaloa, Juarez, Colima, which was absorbed by CJNG over the last 10 years. The increase in criminal groups, including at least 74 armed arms of the main cartels nationwide. 74 arms of the main cartels nationwide was a natural process for adapting organized crime to market demands, according to Cabrera. Okay, here's a map, guys. This is what we're looking at. These people got the place chopped up. They got territories, man. All right? And all of them along the border, because this is where they're getting all their money from, is the drug trafficking, the human trafficking, all the things that they're into. This is California. This is Arizona. Here's the imprint of Texas, the border of Texas. This is our country right here, guys. This is why Trump is trying to put up a wall. He knows what's down there. We don't know what's down there. Today we have many cells operating as adaptive complex cells, says the organized specialist. They're bust down into smaller units. Here they all are. I don't speak Spanish, so I can't read all this stuff for you. I'll leave a link for those of you who do. That means that there was a process of fragmentation of criminal groups during the last 19 years in which criminal organizations specialized and organized to compete for the drug market and other criminal activities, weapons, extortion, prostitution, kidnapping, treats, among others. Among the key moments to understand the evolution of organized crime in Mexico are the political transitions from 2000, the emergence of Las Zetas between 1993 and 2003, as well as the beginning of the so-called war on drugs in 2006. Okay, I'm going to stop there because you guys are going to have to read the rest of this because I'm going to move on to where I'm trying to get you to. Here's another story. I just mentioned this group here. This group here is probably the biggest one right now. This is CJNG, and I'm going to show you some more on them. Here's some more on him. Here's from the same newspaper, Borderland Beat. This is one of the heads of CJNG. Lagata, bloodthirsty head of CJNG. He's in the United States, people. He's here. Lagata, the feared and bloodthirsty leader of the Jalisco cartel in the United States. The DEA placed him in 2016 as one of the 3 heads of the CJNG, along with El Mencho and Abigail Valencia, El Cuini. For more than a decade, he has been part of the criminal group. Little known, Jose Cardenas, alias Lagata, leader of the arm of the Jalisco New Generation in the United States, is considered one of the 2 leaders who could be placed at the head of the criminalization in case of El Mencho was killed or detained by the authorities. So he's like second in command. Lagata appears in documents in the U.S. authorities. The DEA know who's all of them are. Believe me, the DEA knows the heads of all of them. Okay? We'll get into that in different videos. The National Drug Threat Assessment report prepared by the DEA, in which it's confirmed that he is responsible for operations in the United States. One of his hallmarks is that for more than a decade he has remained faithful to El Mencho, and that it has been part of the CJNG since. They were known as the Las Mata Zetas, an armed wing of the Sinaloa cartel that had the task of preventing the entrance of Los Zetas to a territory. He is known for his bloody methods. On July 25, 2008, he was suspected by the authorities of the state of Jalisco as responsible for a heinous crime in which 3 minors were killed. 2 7 and 8-year-old girls and a 17-year-old boy, as well as 3 other adults in the municipality of El Grande, all were stabbed or killed by suffocation. The family was originally from Zacatecas and San Luis Potosí and had bought their home from the former governor of Jalisco. They had moved to the new house 2 months before, and one of them was kidnapped and then released after a payment of large sum. This is very common in Mexico. You'll hear this all the time. These large kidnapping rings that exist down there. On August 1st of that year, Lagata and 6 other men were arrested for their involvement in the crime. They are accused of stealing 400,000 pesos from the family. Authorities also seized 2 vehicles, multiple rounds of ammunition, 2 weapons, and communication equipment. On August 30th, 2018, all the detainees were formally charged with 7 charges related to the crime. However, Lagata was not included in any of the charges. He was released. I wonder why. The authorities alleged that the case was not related to drug trafficking and that it was strictly a kidnapping scheme carried out by a network of kidnappers in complicity with government agents. There's no difference between the government and the cartels in Mexico. Mendoza Cardenas was released without explanation from the authorities. Years later, his influence with the CJNG grew, and he positioned himself as one of the main members of the criminal group. I'm going to show you a video on all these guys. It's in Spanish, but you just have to go by, what you're seeing. In 2016, DEA reports indicate that the CJNG's bastion in the U.S. is located in California and New York, and from there distributes drugs from Jalisco throughout the country. California and New York. They stay with Democrat states and cities, obviously, and that's what the sanctuary city thing is all over, people. Believe it or not, the Democrats are involved in this. I got a lot of information I'll be showing and sharing with you later. Like El Mencho, he began in the criminal world working for the Sinaloa cartel, where he learned to traffic methamphetamine to American soil, following orders of Ignacio Nacho, who was in charge of Guadalajara Plaza and was killed in 2010. In addition to methamphetamines, Lagarra would also be responsible for trafficking cocaine and heroin. Also, Hugo El Sapo was the other of the most wanted members of the CJNG by the U.S. drug authorities. If they're wanted, why would they travel to the U.S.? If they're wanted by the DEA, why would you go travel to the U.S.? The control of the area, the control area of the control area of El Sapo, according to the DEA, is Puerto Vallarta. You guys probably heard some of these vacation places. Jalisco, a plaza of great importance for the CJNG, as it represents a financial bastion. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to the video real fast, and because you guys can read the rest of this stuff. But I just want to show you the importance of how big this thing is, how dangerous these people are, and how we've been vulnerable to this for decades. Our borders have been wide open for decades. These people have made tons and tons of money. Now, I'm going to show you this. This is one of their videos, and I'm going to show you their video, and I want to show you who these people are. So that's going to take very long.
El Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación es la organización criminal transnacional más joven, pero también la más poderosa en México y los Estados Unidos, así lo señala la...
This is right on the other side of our border. That's an army. That's an army. And there's thousands of them. It's not just a few hundred of them, it's thousands of them.
Administración para el Control de Drogas, DEA, por sus siglas en inglés. Por ende, los líderes de esta organización se convierten automáticamente en los criminales más buscados. Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes, el Mencho, es el líder máximo y por ello el enemigo público número uno para autoridades mexicanas y estadounidenses. Sin embargo, detrás de él está un narcotraficante del que poco se ha hablado y que representa un papel clave. Se trata de José Luis Mendoza Cárdenas, alias La Garra. Su nombre y su rostro aparecen en el informe Evaluación Nacional de Amenaza de Drogas de la DEA. Las autoridades estadounidenses colocan a La Garra en la triada de líderes del cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación, junto con el Mencho y Abigail González Valencia el Queenie, detenido el 2 de marzo de 2015, en Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco. A diferencia de Oseguera Cervantes y de González Valencia, de quienes se ha investigado ampliamente, Mendoza Cárdenas parece un narcotraficante que labora entre las sombras. De lo poco que se sabe de él es que fue detenido en 2008, cuando aún el cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación no figuraba dentro de la escena nacional y tenía el nombre de los Matacetas. Cayó el 1 de agosto del 2008, junto con 6 sujetos, por el atroz asesinato de una familia en Ciudad Guzmán, unos días antes, el 25 de julio de ese año. El multihomicidio cimbró a todo Jalisco.
Keep in mind, people, these people walk, look at it, he's in the University of Georgia, Jersey. These people literally walk in and out of our country. These dangerous people.
De los 6 miembros de la familia que fueron asesinados, 3 eran menores de edad, un joven de 17 años, así como 2 niñas de 8 y 7 años. Además, la propiedad había sido de Alberto Cárdenas Jiménez, en ese momento secretario de Agricultura y Ganadería, anteriormente gobernador de Jalisco. Cárdenas Jiménez había vendido la propiedad 2 meses y medio antes del crimen a la familia, que a palabras del funcionario nos unía una añeja amistad. Añadió, además, que anteriormente los compradores de inmueble habían sido víctimas de un secuestro años atrás, por lo que decidieron cambiarse de domicilio. A menos de un mes de tu detención, el 30 de agosto del 2008, La Garra fue puesto en libertad. Esta liberación sin explicación aparente se dio durante la gubernatura del panista Emilio González Márquez, a quien se le acusó también de haber liberado en agosto de 2012 a El Mencho luego de haber sido detenido 2 horas antes por elementos de la Policía Federal. A menos de 10 años de su fugaz detención, Mendoza Cárdenas se encuentra en la cima del mundo criminal. Todo indica que la garra no se encuentra en México, sino en territorio estadounidense, fungiendo como principal operador del cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación en dicho país. De acuerdo con la DEA, el bastión del cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación en Estados Unidos es California, desde donde operaría Mendoza Cárdenas. La principal droga que trafican a territorio norteamericano es la metanfetamina, sustancia adictiva de la cual se volvieron pioneros desde que trabajaban con el cártel de Sinaloa bajo las órdenes de Ignacio Nacho Coronel, asesinado en 2010. Aunque también distribuyen, en menor medida, cocaína, heroína y marihuana. La DEA detalla que dicha droga proviene de Guadalajara, entrando a Estados Unidos a través de Tijuana, Ciudad Juárez y Nuevo Laredo. Los Ángeles, Nueva York y Atlanta son los principales centros de distribución del cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación. En territorio mexicano, de acuerdo con la Procuraduría General de la República, el cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación tiene presencia en 8 estados del país: Jalisco, Colima, Michoacán, Guanajuato, Nayarit, Guerrero, Morelos y Veracruz. Siendo así, el cártel con más presencia en México, incluso mayor que el cártel de Sinaloa, que ha sido mermado por golpes criminales actualmente, de acuerdo con datos oficiales, en 6 entidades del país.
Okay, people, that's what we're facing. Trump understands this, people. See, the news media is hiding this from the public. Trump knows the threat. So Trump knows the only way to stop this is to put up a wall. He's not doing this because he's a racist. He's doing this because of what's on the other side of the wall. Okay? If we all knew this, we'd all be down there helping Trump build that wall.